Welcome back, everyone. Here we're coming into the final stretch of our day-long conference. I'm very excited to introduce the next panel. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Ines, with whom you just saw her video on that last break. Ines, over to you.
Thank you, Eliana. Thank you so much. So I have the great pleasure to be the moderator for this last panel. We have amazing participants to this panel, and I think you will love to know more concrete projects on the ground, which will summarize as well all the high-level topics that we have been discussing today. So let me first introduce quickly the five persons who will be part of this panel. First, Quentin Lemettet, who has gravitated to working at his father's innovative and sustainable NGO in south of Senegal, which is called Planton Utile, and he's currently developing an ecological farm. Together with Quentin, we have Nadia Correa, who is currently working at the Geneva Industrial Services as a project assistant in energy efficiency, and during her free time, she's also active at Planton Utile. We have as well with us Elisa Dotbach, who is coffee business development professional specialized in innovation. She's the founder of Donna Coffee. You have the opportunity to watch a short movie of the work that Elisa is doing. And Donna is a coffee brand and a company that sources top quality coffees from women-owned coffees farms around the world. So we will be able to hear more about her work. Then we have Jan Isler with us. He's the founder of One Action, an independent, apolitical and non-profit association based in Geneva. And he's also the founder of Banyan Alliance, a social enterprise. Rostam, finally, is the founder of Réseau Collect, an NGO engaged in the fight against extreme poverty and the social reintegration of women and girls from disadvantaged neighborhoods in Douala, Cameroon. So I would invite each participant to present his or her own activities in 2 to 3 minutes, if that's possible. And then we will switch to the conversation. So Quentin Lemettet and Nadia Correa, may I invite you to tell us a bit what you're doing on the ground and in Senegal. Thank you very much. Quentin, Quentin, are you with us? And Nadia?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I turned off the micro.
Thanks.
I was saying that so Quentin won't talk that much because he's not that fluent in English. But in case anybody is asking a question I cannot answer, I will just see the answer with him and I will answer in English, if that's fine for everybody. So just to present a bit the NGO Planton Utile, you did it well actually, but I will just add some information. So Planton Utile has carried out several projects since 10 years around Africa in sustainable energy, in social entrepreneurship, and in agroecology. Since 3 years, we have launched the construction of an agroecological farm in Senegal, located in Casamance. And it has been inspired by all these projects done in the past. So for this project, Quentin is working with a Senegalese person, Clément Sambou, who actually owns the land and who is agronomist by profession. So what is great is that they have a two different approach, two different way of analyzing things, different culture. And I think it's good to mention that because it's a good way to make creative solutions and very innovative actions. So what we do there is that we plant trees, we raise animals, we grow foods, and we do some social entrepreneurship. Our hope is that this project will inspire one another to do the same, to actually produce some food locally, to use sustainable energy, and to be as close as possible of a circular economy.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Nadia. Elisa, would you mind doing the same exercise, please?
Yes, thank you, Ines. So yeah, my name is Elisa Dotbach, and I'm building a coffee company that will source coffee from women-owned coffee farms as a way to recognize, support, and celebrate the work of women coffee farmers. So the company is called Dona, which means woman in Catalan, my mother tongue. I'm passionate about coffee. I've been working in coffee for many years, more than 20 years. And I love my cup of coffee, but what I don't like of coffee is that 70% of the work done in the coffee field carried out to make our cup of coffee is done by women, and only a few women get access to revenues of their work, and even a smaller percentage they have access to owning the coffee farms. We've spoken a lot about this today. So I thought, why not use the coffee business as a tool for change? So we drink about 2 billion coffees per day. And so this makes it a powerful lever to get impact. So my goal is to build a brand that connects consumers with the women coffee growers around the world. This way we give them access to the specialty coffee business, we give them visibility, and we celebrate their exceptional work and efforts and what they achieve. But most of all, we support them by supporting their business. And so we pay a fair price, they get fair profits, and this way they support their families' nutrition, health, and education. And through all of these, we support their communities. So we'll be able to make and enjoy the very best coffees out there from these exceptional women. And we'll import the coffee to Switzerland. We'll roast them locally on demand, so we get very fresh. It'll be sold online as whole beans, ground, and also in biodegradable capsules. And we'll launch next year in the French part of Switzerland, so we'll be able to enjoy very soon these fantastic coffees made by these incredible women.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Jan, would you mind talking to us about One Action and as well maybe the link between One Action and Banyan Alliance? Thanks.
Sure. Thank you very much, Ines, for the introduction. My name is Jan Isler. I'm the founder of the Geneva-based NGO One Action, and we run about a dozen environmental and educational projects around the world in Latin America, Switzerland, Africa, and Southern Asia. And at the heart of our project is the notion of self-sufficiency. So for many years, we've been thinking how to apply that philosophy to ourselves. And we came up with a crazy idea, the idea of creating our own chocolate brand. So it has taken a while, about 2 years, but now we're very happy and proud to announce the recent launch of our chocolate brand called Banyan Alliance. And we're following two main objectives with this chocolate brand. One is obviously to serve as a new financial income for One Action. And the second objective is to go way beyond fair trade. So I'll have the opportunity to discuss a bit more about that later. But basically, we wanted to raise awareness about the notion of a fair price. What is a fair price? The chocolate that you buy in supermarkets, what is behind? So we've been exploring many, many ways of reaching the fairest price possible. And for that, we have been partnering with Equal Profit that was founded by our moderator, Ines. And I will give you many more details about it later on during this talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. And finally, Rostam, you have an amazing initiative going on. Could you please tell us about Réseau Collect?
Thank you. My name is Rostam. I founded Réseau Collect NGO a few years ago. The main goal of our NGO is help improve the living condition of women through empowerment and giving value of their jobs. With our project, they could have more nutritive food for their families. And also our activities are to cultivate vegetables in agroecological gardens and make a small scale transformation by the female workers. women will do artisanal processing and preservation and local preservation. Women will also do artisanal processing with local distribution. Our activities is focused on helping the women have a better economic. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry because I'm mixed words in my head, but it's okay.
No worries. It's all fine. So thank you so much. Maybe before we go towards economic subjects, the main topic of this conference is malnutrition. So I would love to ask to Planton Utile, to Rose as well, and to Elisa, how does your initiative tackle malnutrition? And more specifically, what is the role of women in achieving this? So maybe Nadia, if you would like to start.
Yes, of course. So I think we have maybe two ways of doing it with Planton Utile. The first one is to fulfill the need of local women groups. So you have in Casamance many groups of women that are creating some vegetable garden, working together to sell food on the market, because it's only women actually that are on the market to sell food, to redistribute food. So it's not the men for that. And so what we do is that we try to identify the needs they have. It could be, for example, materials. They need materials to work on land, to plant vegetables, to grow vegetables. Or it could be they need some additional knowledge on how to enrich the soil or how to save water. And so we are just here to identify these needs and to fulfill them. So that's the first way we think it could help tackle malnutrition. And the second one is to promote the plantation of valuable trees. For example, we promote the plantation of the moringa or the pigeon pea, it's called in English. I didn't know this name in English, actually. In French, it's pois d'Angole, for those who speak French. And why these trees? Because they are really easy to plant. They have a fast growth. They are resistant to droughts. It is very important in Senegal because you have some months where it's really, really dry and you miss some water. And also they contain a lot of proteins, of important amino acids. And so we believe that if people know the value of this kind of trees and how easy it could be to plant them and to grow them, then it could be a solution, because really it could be used to feed animals, humans, and to enrich the soil. So yeah, that's two ways of tackling malnutrition for us.
Thanks. You can just jump in the conversation. Really feel free.
Yeah, I would like to add to this is great great action that they're doing. So for Donna Coffee, I think that by supporting women coffee farmers, we'll have a direct impact on the nutrition of their family. So as we said before, women tend to typically work without a pay. So if we integrate the women in the coffee value chain, then we know that they'll spend practically all the income from their work on covering household needs. So nutrition, education, healthcare. They'll invest back in their houses, and they'll invest also in their farms, helping the family break out from poverty. So on one hand, so it's the direct impact on the nutrition of the family, but also when we buy coffee from one woman own farm, we also taking into account how this commercial relationship has an impact in the community. So it helps generate sustainable commercial activity in the community, and so this helps revert in a higher standard of nutrition. So I don't want to extend myself too much, but if you saw the video of Marceline, so I came across this wonderful person, Marceline Bouza, from Democratic Republic of Congo, and she has established an organization called Rebuild Women's Hope, with the aim to empower Congolese women to grow and improve through the coffee culture. So she partnered, and we spoke also about how important it is to partner, companies, NGOs, and to complement their activities. So I think this is a really important point. She partnered with an export company, an NGO, and then they did training to women to improve the quality of coffee, how to be entrepreneurs, how to learn other activities that would complement the coffee culture, because it doesn't take the whole year to grow coffee. So this way they can focus also on other income generating activities that eliminates food insecurity. So in the video she explains that the coffee before didn't have value in that the island, the EG island, but now it's really a very high quality. They grow in a very high quality coffee that allows them to have good profits, but also the community is benefiting in a way that they get now running water, so good water for everyone. Then they have also last week she was telling me they finished building this hospital, the clinic for maternity, and they give pediatric support also, and nutrition education. And so this really it's the whole community benefits from this. And so, yeah, I think, I'm really honored to be able to sell Marceline's coffee. So she's impressive and a true change maker.
Thanks a lot.
Maybe bouncing back on Elisa's words, from our perspective, I would also say that favoring quality over quantity is key there. For instance, with our cocoa, the cocoa we source, we only work with cocoa that's been using agroforestry techniques. So that also allows farmers to grow many different crops, enhancing the food security, but more specifically, by having high quality products, then they get a better profit also. So that directly contributes to increased food security.
Yeah, thank you.
Rose, would you like to?
Yes, okay. Our project is called Tomato for All and comprise the development. I would like to explain before the project, like that you can talk about malnutrition before, because if I don't explain, it's not clear. Our project is called Tomato for All and comprise the development and production of an artisanal tomato sauce. Okay. The project is support a group of women from the impoverished districts of Douala. It is designed to generate incomes for these women and reduce the number of locally grown tomato waste every year, and produce an healthier and lower cost and healthier and lower cost alternative imported tomato sauce. In Cameroon, tomatoes are produced throughout most of the year in coastal and regional and tropical area, but during the dry season, tomatoes we have no traditional way to conserve them. Consequently, much of tomatoes crops. And furthermore, during the rainy season, many roads are totally inaccessible for cars. There is a problem also for women to sell their tomatoes. That means that means that they have a problem in the market. The price of tomatoes raises drastically, and women with very modest income cannot buy the tomatoes. They be obliged. They are forced to buy the reconditioned packet of tomatoes for China, Turkish, sometimes Nigeria, to prepare their food. There is a big problem for malnutrition for this. That's why Réseau Collect decide decide to setting up a small unit. We decide to setting up a small unit and working with local women and female farmers, and we like to teach them how to process tomatoes and how they can also make tomato sauce to be used as a source for during the year. And for our project, the most important is that it was the local women who are identified these local needs to process, this local need to produce their own tomato sauce, and they come and they take, and oh my word, it was these local women we identify this problem to producing their own tomato sauce, and they come to us and ask us to help them to developing this project. And this project, in which we believe strongly, we help these local people to fight against malnutrition also, and to fight again and to reduce also the security of food. And also it will reduce cost of women who are primarily responsible for buying and cooking food in Cameroon. That's why I think that it will be it's very important for us to support this project, because women like that, we help them, they will have a new source income through the production and also through the product. That means more homegrown, more nutritious, and more price competitive to imported alternatives.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose.
So it would mix many things, I'm sorry.
No, it's very clear. Thank you so much. In order to tackle malnutrition on the long term, I think something that is similar in all your projects is how do we make sure that all your projects on the long term can have a business impact? So my next question is, how do you ensure a decent and a recurring income for all those smallholder farmers? And how do you ensure stable supply chains locally, but as well internationally? So there are some projects where you want to sell your products in Switzerland, other ones where you want to improve the local markets. And also importantly, how do you diversify the distribution channels for your products? But not only yourself as founders of your initiative, but as well, how do you empower smallholder farmers so that they get the entrepreneurship skills, which I think is also something that comes in all your initiatives. So okay. Yeah, please jump in. Thanks a lot.
No problem. We are creating a small workshop inside the center where the women will have the capacity to produce and process, preserve, distribute locally despite the different season and despite the pandemic. Security guidelines concerning COVID will be followed as best as possible. And also the creation of the socio-economic enterprise capable of training women in the different form of processing and preservation local products. We give these women a sense of value and offer them better prospects for themselves and for their children. And it is how we will help fight malnutrition. I hope that is clear this time.
Sure. What about the other projects? How do you envision stability?
Elisa, go ahead.
That's okay. So yeah, for us, it's important to of course give good prices to the women coffee farmers, but not only this is also we want to establish long-term relationships. So then they can count on our business year after year. So then they can plan ahead. They can plan improvements in their farms, and also they can adapt their farms to the climate change challenges that they are facing now. So this is one thing that we are supporting. So long-term relationship with the growers. Also, we want to establish a community of people around Donna Coffee. So it's connecting the growers and with the consumers, or the consumers with the growers. So this way, we think the consumers will be able to appreciate and value really the work that goes behind your cup of coffee. Because we drink coffee, and really, since I've been working in this project, that every time I have a coffee, I like kind of thank everyone for all the efforts, and I know how much it is, how much of effort goes behind that. So I would like to be able to translate this into like that people understand what's and value this effort.
So just a question. Sorry.
No, I speak too much. Sorry.
You talk about a long-term relationship. What does it mean concretely? Are you offering long-term contracts on a fixed price? What is exactly the business relationship with the farmers?
Yeah, well, if the ideal would be to offer long-term contracts, but as you know, I'm just starting. So what I'm trying to do now is to build a relationship. Okay, so understand who they are, what's the project behind their farm, how they impact the community, how they help the biodiversity of the land, and so all these. So first is what I'm doing now is establish this more personal relationship, and then I want to make this coffee part of the assortment long term. So if people buy it long term, I'll be able to commit long term with the producer. So I'm trying to change a little bit. You know how hard it is to change things, but yeah, this is the work that I'm trying to do behind. And also buying directly if possible. Sometimes it is possible. Like I met these incredible women also from Rwanda, Furawa and Bania. Their farm is organized to trade directly, so I can buy the coffee directly from them. But most of the smallholder coffee farmers, they are not organized to do this. So in those cases, the important thing to me is to negotiate the price directly with them, and then use the importing company for the logistics and stuff, but knowing what they get as the fair price and profit.
Maybe I can share our experiences with that, because I feel it would bring some insights to this conversation. So we gave it a lot of thought, and the starting point was to analyze supply chains. How is it that today when you buy chocolate, for instance, that's what I talk about because that's what I know, the farmer only gets 3%. So how can he make a decent living in the long term, and how can we adjust the big inequalities in the supply chain? So our first goal was to produce the whole chocolate bar in the country of origin, so that the maximum of the added value could stay in the country of origin, and it would benefit its economy. Then also bet on quality rather than quantity. And more specifically, we have been working with a label called Equal Profit that was founded by our moderator here, Ines Birust. And that's very interesting in addressing all these inequalities. Why? Because it guarantees that every actor gets a profit that is proportionate to its production costs. So that is a very concrete way of adjusting all the imbalances that we now see on most product supply chains. So it has been quite difficult to put into place, because it meant we had to audit all the production costs of every actor in the field, And you can imagine that a farmer lost in Ecuador, where we work, sometimes it's quite difficult to analyze all its costs. But by doing that, we have had amazing results. By calculating all the production costs, now we can see that, for instance, a farmer, instead of getting $2,000 per ton, with this model, he will get 5,000. So that directly contributes to food security and to everything else. And more importantly, it makes agriculture attractive again, because that is one of the key issues. When I speak about chocolate in Ecuador, that is the cradle of chocolate. It's where we find the first origins of its use 5,000 years ago. And it has one of the best cocoa beans in the world. Unfortunately, today, because the market dictates so, farmers are producing high yield varieties of cocoa trees, but that don't have any aromas. And that doesn't matter too much to Western countries because we're used to chocolate that's full of sugar and milk. That's why we also want to contribute to raise awareness about the beauty of chocolate. Much like wine, it has an amazing spectrum of aromas, and we want to raise awareness here so that when people buy chocolate, which is a very common good, they will think behind and they will think of the notion of a fair price. And with this model, equal profit, we're able to disclose full transparency and see, like, for every actor who will get that share. So that's been very inspiring for us. Our website will be ready next week. And we're really hoping step by step to slowly change mindsets around the idea of consuming responsible products.
Yeah, sorry, Nadia, I give you the word. Just a question from Atalanti here on the chat. Does it make the chocolate more expensive?
That was my question. That's perfect.
Oh.
Perfect.
Well, yes and no. Yes, if you compare to the chocolate that you find in big supermarkets, because you buy it for 2, 3, 4 francs, even fair trade and organic chocolate. But for higher quality chocolate like ours, we're in the average segment. But yes, for 100 grams, it's about 9 francs. So it is more expensive. But behind, you ensure that every actor can live decently in the long run. And that's what's very important, because even the notion of fair trade, people get mistaken very, very often. That doesn't ensure better conditions for farmers, unfortunately. And that's why we need to go far, far beyond and become transparent. A lot of these labels can be bought, unfortunately. It's very easy to go around them. So transparency, for me at least, is one of the key to ensuring better conditions for all actors along the value chain.
Thanks a lot, Yann. Nadia and Quentin, would you mind explaining to us a bit more how does the local market works with the different plants that you're offering to plant, like moringa? You talked about moringa. Could you explain to us how do you plan to ensure recurring income for farmers? Did you think about power dynamics as well? What is your vision for your project?
So the thing we like to talk about is the idea of, or it's not the idea because we are already doing it, is to build transformation units. So I think it's something that is often done everywhere because we all see that it's really hard to conserve fruits. For example, during the summer, I think we have a lot of mango in Casamance, but it's way too much. It's not possible to sell all of them, so it's wasted. So the solution for that is to have, one of the solution is to build transformation units so that you can transform the product into valuable one that you can sell all over the year. So our opinion is to find a way to sell products all over the year without depending on the season. As I told you before, the dry season in Senegal is pretty long, and it's really, really hard to find sorts of vegetables and trees that are really resistant to these long droughts. So we have to find ways to sell products in another way than just during the good season. So this transformation unit will be able to hire 6 women And so we will provide them with materials and, if needed, a good methodology. And that's, we think, a way to create employment. And so these women will be able to earn money all over the year and to sell products all over the year. So that's a way of doing it, we think.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. I think we need to skip one question because we are all conscious of time. So my next question, I think that's key for our audience as well, is to understand how we can help you scale up. What are your needs? How can people, you have seen there are people from the business world, from academia, from NGOs. We have a wide audience. And as Valenti has just mentioned, how can we help you tell your story more widely, how we can touch people, and yeah, what are your needs? So maybe, Nadia, if you want to continue.
Can I just skip and answer after? So I will discuss with Quentin. Sorry.
No worries. Rose, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, why not? Oh, okay. In order to set up our activities in concrete terms, we need to finish our tomatoes processing building and buy some equipments to packaging our tomatoes. And furthermore, we will really appreciate benefiting from your skills and for your network. Yes, that's why you need. Thank you.
Do you have specific skills that would help you scale up, that would help you make your idea more concrete on the ground? I know you have as well very concrete resources that are needed. How can we help you in terms of skills?
Skills, for example, your experience, because I'm sure that some people have the same experience in other places. Maybe it can help because it's just Africa. If you change the place, the problem is the same for women and for girls. That's why I mean that if people have the time, have experience, just share how it's possible to implement these workshop and don't lose a lot of time, for example, and be more efficient, is be really good. And also needs can be also advice, why not? Implication, and come also in Cameroon to see how we cannot. This time is not a good time because of COVID, but I think that the main needs it's really to help us to buy these equipments. It can be like, I don't know, these cooking pots, a chart, something like that, and give advice for recycling also, because for us it's very, very important to use the same things, not plastic, not to use something and put like that, because it's not a classic model we like to setting up, like to set the socio-economic, enterprises can be good.
Perfect. What about Elisa? You are at the beginning of your project. Your project is super ambitious. We would like to help you as consumers. What do you need from us?
Yeah, well, as you said, a small new project, and I would need the contacts to get momentum, the word of mouth. So I would appreciate all of you becoming ambassadors of Donna Coffee. So I would like to ask you to sign up on the website so you can start helping build the Donna community. And by doing this, you'll have access to the first coffee launches next year. Also, we might embark on a crowdfunding initiative, and then the website is www.donna.coffee. It's on the invitation of this amazing conference. So yeah, I think it's important that when we drink a cup of coffee, we don't think about like how can we get our coffee the cheapest way, and so do not support the brands that you don't know where the coffee comes from, but support the brands where they value the farmer and the effort that's behind this cup of coffee. and value the quality and also the supply chain that cares. So sustainability, etc. So yeah, I think that this conference is about impact, and so through this power of collective action, I think that we can achieve a better life for this courageous woman of coffee, and we can change the world every time we drink a cup of coffee. So yeah.
Thank you. And the website is on the chat for everybody who's listening to us. You can click and register directly there. What about Nadia and Quentin? Do you have now a few ideas or a few ways we can support you?
So a bit like Elisa said, we have to do some either crowdfunding or find some ways to be financially supported, because we need some fund to finish the transformation unit, because it's built, but now we need to put solar systems for the building to work and to have the machinery we need, and it costs. So there is this. And then I think it would be really great for us to talk a bit with Elisa and Jan, because in the future, we aim to sell transformed products in Switzerland. So it's a bit early now, but it would be great to know a bit like how you did it, what's the challenges, what's the thing you have to take care of when you produce, because we know that you cannot produce like outside, you have some really some label to have and some rules to respect. So it would be great to talk with you guys to know a bit better on that.
Happily share all the experiences we've acquired.
Thank you.
And we're interested in your dried mangoes potentially.
Great.
So yeah, and finally, maybe could you tell us, I've seen one of the questions is how do you differentiate from fair trade? If you can tell us a bit more about how, what is your niche market, and yes, what is the difference for consumers basically? And then, yeah, how we can help you with your chocolate bars.
For sure, and thanks Joanna for the question. Actually, I'll just use some concrete figures so it's clear for everybody, using a simple example. But now on the world markets, a ton of cocoa is about $2,000. For premium cocoa, that's of a higher quality, that is both fair trade and organic, the price is about 4,000, so the double. And on these 4,000, guess how much is the fair trade part? Can anyone answer? No, it's only $200. And that doesn't go directly to farmers. It goes to the cooperative of farmers. But like anywhere, corruption starts at the grassroots level also. And if you have a president that doesn't have the best intention, this money is never used for the benefit of the community. The organic part is $800 of this 4,000. So that works, that's better, but it's not enough. And when you see the conditions of farmers locally, even with fair trade and organic labels, they cannot survive. They cannot survive. Their interest is to plant genetically modified cocoa trees that have much higher yields, 6-7 times better, that don't have any taste or aroma, but that at least they have the guarantee that it will be bought by large companies. So this is clearly not our approach. And we also want to fight against the destruction of these amazing cocoa species that have incredible properties. So one way of helping us to do that is obviously to find out about our chocolate, taste it, it's delicious. It's not because we're the founders that I'm saying that, but objectively it's quite good. And yeah, as I said, our website will be ready in a week. I can give you a temporary link. Please don't share it for now. I'm sending it right now, but just so you have an idea. It's only in French for now, so we'll translate it by next week in English. And you can't purchase yet. So once it's ready in about a week, please spread the word, order some for Christmas for your friends, because I promise you won't regret it.
Thanks a lot. So in conclusion, what I listened from your 4 initiatives is that there's many, before going to the audience, there are many learnings that you can, between each other, you can share transformation skills between Nadia and Rose, entrepreneurship skills. I mean, the 4 initiative, I think you can learn so much from each other in terms as well of supply chain management, of distribution, of crowdfunding. That's also something. How do we raise money? How do we make it sustainable for each initiative? I mean, there are many things. So I would really invite everybody to continue the conversation beyond this conference. Again, thanks you so much, Eliana and Atalante, for inviting me as a moderator. And yeah, maybe we leave the floor for the questions, right? So I give you the word, Atalante or Eliana. I don't know who's managing what, but or would you like me to continue? I don't really know. So maybe everybody, if you want to write some questions so that we can ask.
Yeah, so I have, oh, sorry. I have one question, because I think that if we're going to really see a big change within this supply chain, because everything that we've talked about relates also to fair trade, to fair payment, that there's a recognition of the farmer who's growing, and also a lot around food waste, because I think when you talk about production and being able to use the fruits and not waste them, that's an enormous part of the story. My question is, because all of you are very small still, these are small initiatives, how do we scale this to become the norm, and we actually get rid of the chocolate producers who are using genetically modified beans and feeding the market with things that are really not tasting very good and so on? How can we make that change? Big question. And I think our panel on Monday felt that this was something that big business should take on. That's my question.
If I may, Atalante.
You're on mute. You're on mute. Oh. Oh, no, you're not.
No? Is it good now?
Okay.
Yeah. So in the coffee world, so most of the coffee is traded in the stock market. So, and this is bad news, because it's about big corporations interested in the lowest price possible. Okay, but there's good news here. So the good news is in the 90s, there was an association called the Specialty Coffee Association. That it was created to support quality and sustainability throughout the coffee chain. And this coffee today only represents 1% of the total volume, but is the segment that's growing, and it's growing fast. And so this coffee is not traded at the stock market, but is done on auction or direct relationship between producer and buyer. So, and this is great, because you get to know the producer, the quality they make, and then if you're interested in the price that they're offering, and it's a high price, I'm telling you, like Jan was talking about. And so today the price of the coffee traded in the stock market is $1 per pound. So, and these we're talking about 3 times, 4 times. 5 times, so or whatever, because it's the law of the the market. So if you're interested, you buy. So by having more people supporting the specialty coffee market, so of course I'm focusing on women, and this is great, but out there are a lot of companies, small roasters, that focus on specialty coffee. The quality is high, and then it's a way to scale up. My initiative is very focused, but there you can also find initiatives out there that support these farmers and this specialty coffee market.
Thanks, Elisa. I completely agree with you. I think that's one way. In the case of the chocolate, most of the chocolate we consume daily comes from the child labor, slavery in many cases, because the largest part of production comes from Ivory Coast and Ghana, where they secured. Another way maybe to instill this big change would be to put added pressure on these large companies by convincing them that transparency is a must now, and they won't be able to get away in the next few years, the trends are changing. And that's typically, I'm highlighting again the work of Ines, our moderator, with the label she's created, Equal Profit, because I really believe this is one of such ways to actually bring about huge changes by convincing this company that they have to be transparent and they have everything to benefit from it. And it's happening. It's happening slowly, but it is. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think that Nicola has a question. Nicola, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes. Hi. I was intrigued by, sorry, I don't remember your name, the lady that makes the tomato sauce, saying that traditionally they didn't have a means of doing it. And so my question is, in that situation, and also in the situation in Senegal, where there are too many mangoes, surely people traditionally had ways of dealing with the dry season or the mango product. So what has changed that requires us to come in and give different skills that weren't there? So for example, maybe with the tomatoes, what did they do if there weren't tomatoes? Does it mean that there's been a change in the meals that have been cooked? And for example, in the mango situation, when there's nature, normally there isn't such a déséquilibre where all of a sudden there's so many mangoes that they can't be used. So like there, did it change that so many mango trees were planted because of an economic sort of thing? So I'm trying to understand what it is that has changed or has become unnatural in the environments that are requiring us now to move in and try and bring skills to people who surely must have had ways of dealing with this in the past. I'm trying to get to the origin of why the problem is there in those two particular cases.
So if I may answer for the mango, these trees are there since a long time. So it's not people that have planted them since 2 years, maybe in the past, but like in far away. But I think today, since the population grow, we have to ask ourselves, how can we waste less food and use it before being wasted? And so that's also the reason why today we are trying to find some innovative way to save food. But for example, in Casamance, they for sure have some means to do it. For example, they were just drying it on the sun during several days, and then it would be dry and you could eat it. However, if you want to sell it on big market outside of the country, that's not possible. Because they do it outside and you don't have the standards to sell it. So that's also a way to put an added value on them and to be able to sell it. If you have a big quantity that cannot be only sold locally, then you have to find some ways to sell it outside of the country, right? And also I wanted to add the fact that these solutions are not coming from outside and brought there. We are working with Senegalese people that also have some insights, some knowledge, some skills, and together we do a mix of ideas and find solutions. I hope I have answered your question.
That was great, thank you. I'm not sure if we have any other questions coming from the floor.
I've seen a question about from Heather talking about research. So we can see if we can do research, or we're planning to do research on the impact that our activities will have. You know, it would be good to have data. She talks about, this is Heather Alford. And I think it's important to have data, and I'm working also through an organization called International Women's Coffee Association, and they are present in 25 markets, and they are really empowering women in the coffee industry to really step forward and make a living out of it. So it is through this organization and through the specialty coffee organization that we're getting a lot of research and a lot of studies that I'm happy to share that are quite impressive. So yeah, so I'm not planning to do those studies myself, but through the organizations I'm working with, there's studies that have been done, and they continue to do it to measure the impact of our activities.
Thank you, Elisa. That's great. We've seen throughout today and throughout the conference how important data is, and indeed, it's not for each organization to necessarily gather that data themselves. There are resources that we can get from others as well. So that's great that you're using partners for that. I believe that Helen Hipsag wanted to add something. Would you like to unmute yourself, Helen, and share your thoughts?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to comment on the question regarding why we now need help in Africa to preserve mangoes and tomatoes, that we must have surely had some skills from the past. From what I remember from my childhood, we did have a lot of mangoes and other fruits, but back in the 70s, we really didn't have much need for cash. We were self-sustaining. Like when I was sick, there was leaves that I could drink and get away from fever. I only needed very little money to buy paraffin for lighting and other things. But now our lives really depend so much on cash. So before we could waste so much mangoes, I personally would be given a basket of sweet corn to gift my neighbor, and on the way I pass my friend coming to gift the same sweet corn to my mom, and sometimes we swapped it, and our moms didn't know the difference, and we had so much, and we had so much rain. But now it's really like you have tomatoes and you need tomatoes, but at the time it's plenty and it's cheap, but then it's the weather changes, and we really need to convert our crops into cash. That's the problem. Why now we need to learn new skills.
Thank you for that contribution. That's very helpful.
Okay, bye.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Perhaps maybe we could turn it over to each of the panelists just to share one more insight or something that you'd like the audience to go away with today, maybe some inspiration for actions, things that they could do, or your last thoughts. That would be really helpful. Thank you so much.
Well, okay, I'll go. I guess my message would be always favor quality over price. Always.
And my message would be keep organizing conferences like this, because I've learned a lot from a lot of participants, and and also the possibility of networking and connecting. This has an incredible value. So thank you so much.
And for me, it would be keep on supporting little producers, be aware of what you consume, and get interested in how it is done.
My message is to say thank you, because it's very important to listen the different experience and give us more possibility to connecting with another organization. Thank you. I'm very impressed, because it's a big challenge for me when I listen to your experience. Thank you so much, Tatanati. Thank you, and Elena, to do this.
Thank you all so much. Inez, do you have any closing remarks you wanted to add to the panel before we hand it over to our chairperson to close off?
Thanks for sharing all your stories, and I really hope you will get all the support needed in order to scale up, because that's key. If we want to change, we want, as Antalenti has mentioned, not small initiatives. We want that this becomes the norm. So let's work all for that. Thank you.